At exactly 2:11 in the morning, Farid's phone vibrated on the wooden table beside his bed. The room was silent, except for the faint ticking of the clock on the wall and the distant hum of a truck passing somewhere on the highway. Farid had been half asleep, drifting in and out of shallow dreams, when the sudden vibration pulled him back into consciousness. He frowned and reached for the phone. Unknown number. There was only one message, a link. For a moment he simply stared at the screen, his tired eyes struggling to focus in the dim light. It was strange. No text, no explanation, just a link. Farid almost ignored it. Normally he would. But something about the time made him uneasy. 2:11, the same time his younger sister had died 3 years ago. He swallowed slowly and sat up in bed. His small apartment felt colder than usual. The winter wind whispered softly against the window, and the streetlight outside painted pale yellow shadows across the walls. He clicked the link. The screen opened to a video. At first it looked ordinary, a blurry recording of a quiet street at night. The camera seemed to be placed somewhere high, maybe on a balcony or rooftop. Farid frowned. Then his heart skipped. The street looked familiar, too familiar. He leaned closer to the screen. It was his street, the narrow road outside his apartment building. The same broken lamppost, the same grocery store on the corner. A strange chill crept down his spine. The video timer showed only 10 minutes long. For several seconds nothing happened. The camera simply stared down at the empty road. Then someone appeared, a girl walking slowly under the streetlight. Farid's breath caught in his throat. He knew that walk, the way her shoulders tilted slightly to the left, the way she pushed her hair behind her ear when the wind moved it. It was impossible. It was his sister. Aisha. His chest tightened painfully. No, he whispered. She had died in a car accident 3 years ago. He had been the one who identified the body. He had stood beside the hospital bed and held her cold hand. Yet there she was on the screen, alive, walking slowly along the quiet street. Farid's hands began to tremble. The girl in the video stopped under the broken streetlight and looked directly toward the camera. For a moment she stood there silently. Then she spoke. Farid. The sound of her voice shattered something inside him. It was exactly the same. Soft, warm, familiar. Tears instantly blurred his vision. Farid, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. His breathing became uneven. How is this possible? He whispered to himself. Aisha in the video looked sad but calm. I know you're confused. You're probably thinking this can't be real. She glanced down the empty street. I recorded this before the accident. Farid blinked. Before the accident? But I asked someone to send you the link tonight. Exactly at 2:11. His heart pounded harder. Aisha looked back toward the camera again. I knew something might happen to me. And if it did, I didn't want you to spend your life blaming yourself. Farid froze, because that was exactly what he had been doing for 3 years. Blaming himself. The night of the accident, he had been the one driving. He had insisted on taking a shortcut through a poorly lit road. The rain had made the asphalt slippery. A truck had appeared suddenly from the opposite direction. Everything after that had become chaos. Metal crushing, glass breaking, Aisha's scream, and then silence. Farid survived with minor injuries. Aisha didn't. Since that night, guilt had become a permanent weight inside his chest. He had stopped meeting friends, stopped visiting relatives, stopped living. His entire world had slowly shrunk into the small apartment and the long, sleepless nights. On the phone screen, Aisha took a slow breath. You always think everything is your responsibility, she said gently. Farid wiped his tears with shaking fingers. You blame yourself when things go wrong, even when they aren't your fault. Her voice softened. But life isn't something we can control completely. The wind moved her hair slightly in the video. I asked my friend Sarah to send you this video if anything ever happened to me. Farid felt his chest tighten. I wanted you to hear this from me. Aisha's eyes looked directly into the camera. Farid listened carefully. He leaned closer unconsciously. It was not your fault. The words hit him like a wave. For years he had waited to hear them, but he had never believed anyone who said them. Not the police, not the doctors, not even their parents, because none of them were there in that car. None of them were holding the steering wheel, but Aisha had been there. She had been sitting beside him, and now she was saying it. It was raining, she continued quietly. The truck driver lost control. Even if you hadn't taken that road, something else could have happened. Farid covered his mouth as his shoulders began to shake. I don't want my big brother to destroy his life because of me, she said softly. I want you to live. Her voice trembled slightly now. I want you to laugh again, make friends again, fall in love someday. Farid felt tears streaming freely down his face. The past 3 years flashed through his mind. All the nights he had spent staring at the ceiling, all the invitations he had rejected, all the moments he had refused to move forward. I know it hurts, Aisha continued, and maybe it always will a little. She gave a faint smile. But pain is not the same thing as guilt. Farid closed his eyes for a moment. Her words slowly settled into the deepest parts of his heart. You're still here for a reason, she said gently. Don't waste that gift. For several seconds she said nothing more. The quiet street behind her looked peaceful. Then she added one final sentence. Please forgive yourself. The video ended. The screen went dark. Farid sat motionless, and the silence of his room. The clock on the wall continued ticking. 2:21. His chest felt heavy, but something inside him had shifted. For 3 years he had carried a prison inside his mind. A prison built from guilt and regret. But hearing Aisha's voice again had cracked the walls. He stood slowly and walked toward the window. Outside, the same street from the video stretched beneath the pale streetlight. Empty, quiet, and peaceful. Farid opened the window slightly and let the cold night air touch his face. He imagined Aisha standing under that broken lamppost, smiling the way she always used to. For the first time in 3 years, he took a deep breath that didn't feel suffocating. His phone vibrated again. Another message from the unknown number. This time it wasn't a link, just a short sentence. She told me to send this exactly tonight. I hope it helps you. Sarah. Farid stared at the words. Then he typed slowly. It did. He placed the phone down and looked at the sky. The night was still dark, but somewhere beyond the horizon, the first light of morning was quietly preparing to rise. And for the first time since the accident, Farid felt something he thought he had lost forever. Hope.